This new harem anime made me cringe. And I know what you're thinking, Alex. It's harem anime. Of course it's gonna make you cringe. It's all about polygamy and intimacy and blah blah blah, neckbeard kind of things, you know. I get it, but I like to go into things with an open mind. And this brand new one, Tales of Wedding Rings, is the harem anime I have just consumed, and it's not exactly cringe for the reasons you might think. Now, I'd like to just let's just go over kind of what a harem anime is. Usually, it's, you know, you got your main character, and in some course of events that doesn't really make sense nor do you really care, he comes between 5 different women. He kind of has to choose between, like, oh, am I going to go with woman A because she's super powerful and, you know, big milkers? Or am I going to go with woman B because she's super powerful and funny and has big milkers? Or, you know, you get the point. Anyway, Tales of Wedding Rings starts off with our character, Sato, who is just kind of pining after, of course, his best friend Hime, who's come from, like, this other dimension, an isekai, if you will, of course, and is told that he has to protect her while she's in his world. And I don't know if he's supposed to really remember this. The details in a lot of parts are kind of blurry, and you're not really sure if you're supposed to keep track of them. Anyway, she is a princess in another world, and she has to go back to her planet and marry this random hot dude, of course. And Sato says, well, I ain't having that, girl. Like, I want your hand. I love you. Even though for some reason he is, like, just insanely terrified of pronouncing or confessing his love to Hime. So he ends up following her into this world, stopping the wedding, and then boom! In come, like, a bunch of, like, abyss mage monsters and gargoyles and goblins and they just start attacking, and out of nowhere Hime just goes up and runs and kisses Sato, thus, which brings us into, like, the biggest arc of this story aside from, you know, the horny stuff. And it's that these rings that these princesses like Hime have can bring power to whoever the true ring king is, aka who they choose to marry or get closer to. And Hime then in this moment, instead of marrying this hot prince, decides to basically choose Sato. And Sato then just suddenly gets this, like, burst of power the closer that they get. And so she makes out with him, and then he just goes and cuts this gargoyle in half like a Giga Chad. Cool, whatever, it's fine. But here's wherein lies the problem for me in harem animes a lot of the time. The main characters just always seem to be terrified of women. And it's like any chance they get with the girls that they're, you know, pressed up against, literally and figuratively, they just for some reason are always like, what? Oh, dude, what? Actually, you know what? Let me play out a scene for you. Let me play a scene for you. So there's like a sensei. Sato, you need to get closer to these women so you can, like, save the planet. How do I do that? Well, you need to get closer to them, Sato. But how? You need to, you know, bang them, Sato. Bang them. Have sex with all of them. Go! And that's just kind of how it always goes. For some reason, the MCs in harem anime are just, like, oblivious to emotions from other people. Like, literally, Hime at some points will openly be like, I want you, like, I love you. And he's just like, but we can't do it like this. It has to be real. Like, there's a scene where she's, like, pushing him against a bed, and even still, he's just like, we can't do this. This isn't the way it's supposed to go. And I'm like, dude. And the whole plot, the reason it's really agitating is the whole plot is he has to go find all these ring bearers, which hence the title, Tale of Wedding Rings. There's, like, 5, and they're from, like, princesses of, like, earth, wind, and fire. You know, just typical Avatar, Last Airbender things. And for some reason, he refuses to get close to any of the other princesses aside from Hime because it's his true love. So how is he gonna strengthen his connection to beat all these, like, abyss mages and, you know, bastards and all these things? Like, he's not. I mean, I'm assuming at some point he does, but he has trouble even just, like, kissing the person he's in love with and married to, yet alone needing to get closer to 4 other big booba chicks. Like, it's not gonna happen. So to me, it's just like, I don't know, like, what the the purpose is sometimes of like here's the solution. So it's either you call this a harem anime or an isekai, and you're not, but this just decides kind of the middle line of both. Like the anime doesn't get too saucy. It like almost gets there and then stops. And it doesn't get too intense. It just almost get there and then stops. So I would just like it if it's either like, it's like good old goonin material, or it's like just a crappy isekai. I would be fine just like choosing one or the other. Like, because at its core, the story, it's subpar, like at best. Let's be real. It's pretty predictable. It's like, oh, there's elves, there's a fire kingdom, like they're spicy and crazy, and of course cat girls, like what else would they be? And we're going through kingdom to kingdom to stop the evil dark mages. Whoa, like the coolest character in the show is the old dude named Alabaster or Alabussy or something, and even he's like kind of a perv naturally. And yeah, so I wish that with some of these shows, because I really do see the potential. I wish they could just like push one way or the other a little harder, so you can kind of further go in just to an actual genre. Because at the moment, it just feels like it's kind of like in flux or purgatory between the two, and I don't really know exactly how to label it. Yeah, I don't know. My biggest qualm with harem anime, which is why I don't really watch them, aside from just the obvious cringe stuff, is just like I just wish there was like a guy that wasn't like afraid of intimacy, or because that's the whole point. And this one like definitely just goes into like exploring like a lot of different kinks and quirks and things like that. Some maybe too far, because the elves like, they're family members sometimes, and don't really want to see much anime of that. But some we don't kink shame here. And so yeah, Tales of Wedding Rings is good. It's all right. It's very predictable overall, pretty subpar. And if you like harem anime, you might enjoy it. For me, I'm halfway through, and I kind of just think it's just going to get more and more predictable. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you like harem anime, if you're not about them, comment below. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more anime, manga, and cringe videos. Helps me out a ton. And as always, I will see you next time, weebs. All right, stay safe. Bye.